Just who wanna make you proud like Penny, yeah. Cause you held me down when I ain't have a penny, yeah. I'm talking red carpets, yeah. At the Oscars, we can be, yeah, a proud family, yeah. What you think?
Hello. So today I am interviewing a good friend of mine, Miss Antonette, the owner of Avela Design. And this is her.
Hey.
So to start off this video, we're going to start off with a icebreaker just to get us both comfortable and, you know, the flow of the video. So we have a great hip hop and rap quiz. It's titled for 2018, so I guess it's going to be anything around the 2000 era. So, you ready?
I think so.
All right.
Let's do it.
It's going to be fun. All right, so, also the rules are, so it was going to be 10 questions, and if you get, let me see, I'll say like 8 to 10 right, then you could win some free stickers or something. Okay, cool. So let's start. So, first question, who are the members of the super duo, the Carters? And I can give you the options, so there are 4 options.
Choice, we like that.
Okay, Quavo and Travis Scott, A$AP Rocky and Tyler, the Creator, Jay-Z and Beyonce, or Kyle and Lil Yachty.
Oh, you said the Carters.
Yes.
Oh, Jay-Z, Beyonce.
Yes. Okay. Who is Kyle? I don't know who that is.
No idea.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one.
Okay.
Who isn't the member of the A$AP Mob from the following list? You know, A$AP Mob was A$AP Rocky and his whole crew.
Okay.
So A$AP Relly, A$AP Fury, A$AP Ty, and A$AP Bari. I don't know this one either.
The first one really jumped out at me.
A$AP Relly?
That sounds like that could be a real person, though. You said Ty,
Relly. Yeah, Bari and Fury.
Fury.
Okay, we're gonna go with Fury. Actually, that was correct.
Yay!
So we got 2. Okay. Which rapper dated Kylie Jenner before Travis Scott? I'm gonna keep my comments to myself.
Okay.
But Drake, Tyga, Lil Baby, or Quavo?
Tyga.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Which rapper made the soundtrack of the 2018 Marvel movie Deadpool 2? Eminem, DMX, Blockboy JB, and French Montana. Or French Montana.
Oh, what's the movie?
Deadpool 2. The one that came out in 2018. So Eminem, DMX, Blockboy JB, or French Montana?
Probably French.
Oh, that's correct.
That's right.
I guess.
Okay.
I thought it was like Eminem. Oh, I definitely don't know this. Which rapper wasn't in what is his name? XXX Temptation or Tentacion? I've never known how to say his name. We're gonna go with Tentacion.
Okay.
Hip hop collective group members only. Playboy Cardi, Rob Banks, Wi-Fi's Funeral, or Sky Mask the Slump God. What is his name?
Slump God sounds like somebody real.
Yes.
Okay.
Playboy Cardi. I think they're all real, just who wasn't in his group, the members only.
All right, one more time. Playboy
Okay,
Cardi.
Playboy Cardi, Rob Banks, Wi-Fi's Funeral, and Ski Mask the Slump God.
I'm gonna just say Rob Banks because his name is like Rob Banks.
Nope, it was Playboy Cardi.
Dang, that was my first thought.
Okay, we got 4.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into these questions.
Right.
So, as I said, Avela, Antonette is an artist like myself, and she's like an amazing artist, so I have some questions for her today. So the first question I have is, what inspired you to become an artist?
Okay, so I feel like I was always pretty like artsy and like crafty when I was like younger. I have 2 references that I can share with you. So one of them, I don't know where the inspiration for me saying this was, but I was in 3rd grade and we had, I think it was like some sort of career day or something, and we had to, get up on stage and say what we wanted to be. And so that's when we had like dial-up internet and everything. And so I was like, okay, what do I want to be? For whatever reason, I landed on this article or this story about Romare Bearden. And he was an artist, obviously. And so I think after looking at his work, I was like, this is what I want to do. this is what I want to do. Yeah. Okay. And then I remember, now I can't remember the sequence of these two events. So that happened. And then also I was, we used to go visit my grandmother in Texas. And she lived in Dallas. And she had this portrait on her wall. It was of her, both my uncles, and I think my mom was in it too. But I don't know, I can't remember if she told me who drew it or not, but I just remember staring at it and I was like, in my head, I'm like, I can do that. Like, I just knew that I could do it. So it felt so like home to me. So I think like just a combination of like that, and then just, I don't know, being in my own little world a lot, really like pulled me into like artistry and wanting to be able to create.
Oh, I love that. That's a whole story. I love that. That's dope. Okay, so my next question will be, okay, so I know I've seen your art a lot. I've been at an art show with you. You know, I follow you on social media, and you have a very like specific style, like a very nice style. So where does your art style come from? Like, what inspired you to even go in the direction that you're going with your art?
Well, as far as like subject matter, I don't know, I've just always been fascinated with like the human form and like faces and, you know, bodies and whatnot. And so I think that was like my basis for a lot of things. Inspiration, I don't know, people inspire me, the world inspires me, like everything around me is inspiration. You know, plants, animals, birds, like I believe that we're all connected, and so trying to incorporate all of these pieces and use them as symbols to sort of like, you know, piggyback off one another, I think is really cool. So I don't know, I think that being able to, you know, draw from different areas but they all connect in some way, that to me that's just like so like powerful and like beautiful to see how things really come together. Because when we look at the scope of our lives, like, you know, you'll gain some knowledge here and then later you'll be able to pull from that little bit and it'll, you know, connect. So that's what I try to draw in my art. It's like, even though you think like a butterfly and a flower, maybe not, you know, you wouldn't combine them, but like, you know, when you see it on some sort of canvas, you're like, oh, that works, you know, or like, I mean, that was kind of like a basic, you know, but you know what I mean? Like being able to draw two things together and they still connect and make sense. And you find that symbolism in them and it really gets you like thinking, I think is a big part of the inspiration where, you know, and why I create is just to, you know, get people thinking.
I love it.
Yeah.
You just have such great answers. Do you have any art influences? Like as far as people, your favorite artists?
Yeah, Romare Bearden for sure. He's like the biggest one. He's just like he was so socially conscious and being able to tell the story of the time that he was in. And I think that's so important. And you know, leaving your legacy here. Janine Anthony. She did a lot of things where she used her body to create. I remember she did this piece where she was like blinking on canvas as a way to like show, you know, how she like had mascara on her face, but it was like she made her body as a part of like her pieces. And she focused a lot on like women's issues and things that we go through. And so I think that that's why I'm so inspired by like drawing faces of women and you know, just our form and how powerful we really are, and you know, just sort of like define those constructs that you know, society has created. So that's the element that I want to move into, and she sort of inspired that in a way. I've been so interested in her since like college. I was like, I read an article or a book or an article on her and I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm pretty sure I included her in my senior thesis.
I need to look her up.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. She's pretty cool. So yeah, once I you know, just practicing, I think moving from like digital to fine art also really helped, because I don't know, you have to like see things in shape as digital, and the same way with like drawing and painting, you see things in shape and then when you step back it's like this big, you know, masterpiece of things. So yeah, and then so after I graduated, I was, you know, I worked in graphic design for a little bit, and then I jumped into retail, and then I came back to painting and drawing because it was like pulling me. I still had all of these supplies, and I was like, okay, well, let me, you know, just dive back into it. And then I started reading books and watching videos and listening to all these like talks and stuff, just so I can get my mind back into, you know, being able to create and like basically like relearning everything, or just like pulling those qualities out of me that I didn't, you know, cultivate at the time. yeah, and I, did a lot of stuff, reading books and like my, my little drawing books, like really just honing in on like where do I want to be? So let's work backwards from there. I have to practice. I have to sketch. I have to, draw from references and whatnot. So, yeah, just a lot of practice.
Okay,
and I'm still practicing. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you combat comparing yourself to others, losing inspiration, art blocks, things like that?
So it's hard to not compare yourself to, other artists, especially when you see where they are and you want to be there. But, I think changing your mindset on how you see it, it's not a comparison thing. It's what can I use from your, from what you're creating, and take that and use it, for myself. So I try not to get into the habit of comparing myself, because I can only judge myself from where I've been, right? And so it's mentality is really is what it is for me, and it's challenging. It's challenging. We live in a society where social media is so important, but as far as like comparison, I think it's more so like it's inspiration. It's like, oh, this is really cool, and I'm gonna work to where I want to be, where this person is or where that person is. But I don't know, it happens, it comes and it goes. As far as art block is concerned, I try not to think of it as like a block, but it's like a moment of discovery. So if I can't draw inspiration, if I'm not feeling inspired, then I need to go and get out into the world and get inspired. Like, you have to, I don't look at it as it's like something what am I supposed to learn in this moment now? So it's not necessarily like, oh, it's not art block for me. It's like, okay, it's a moment of, coming back to your center and, figuring out what you need to discover in this moment in order to find the inspiration. What do you need to learn about yourself,
Look, this is helping me with my mindset. You're opening my brain up to things. No, that's wonderful. Because I definitely have those moments of not knowing what to create. And for me, I usually reflect or go to Pinterest and look at kind of different things on Pinterest. But sometimes that doesn't always spark it either. So it's time to get out. And
you know what? And even still, like whenever I do find myself in those moments where I'm just like, I can't figure it out. I'll try to draw from dreams that I had, or I'll just take a canvas and just throw paint around, or just like, start to sketch, just get something out of me. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And it's like, okay, well, let me just go out into the world and find what I'm, in search of, basically. So, I definitely think, trying to, keep yourself out of art block, is constantly like creating, but sometimes you just need to take a break. And sometimes that art block is like, I'm just gonna take a break. You know what I mean? And I think that's because you gotta unwind. You gotta settle yourself in your spirit. You have as an artist, you always have so many ideas that you want to get out. And sometimes it's to the point where it's like, I can't even do X, Y, and Z. So just like take a beat. Take a beat, take a breath.
Like, I definitely understand that. Being a full-time artist, I'm art 24/7. So my husband even tells me sometimes like, put the sketchbook down. You can chill for a second. But for me, that's so hard because it's like, I'm like a worker bee. Like I just have to keep going. I have to keep doing something at all times. So it's very important to say, okay, let's take a break. You have to breathe. You have to live life. Go be a wife.
Absolutely.
Go cook. So I definitely need to get there. Okay. So like I said, I've been in the art show with you. That's where I first met you, of course. So and I've told you my experiences with me trying to get out there and do my art more. So my question is, how was your first experience showing your art on a big platform like art shows and just showing it to the world?
Okay, so it was a challenge, let's be clear. So in 2015 is kind of when I started to, dive back into art, and I was, getting a lot of stuff out of my system, and I was challenging myself, like, should I post this? And I knew that social media is a really cool outlet in order to, reach, more people than you would normally, right? So that was a challenge at first, because it's like when you create art, for me, it's a very vulnerable experience, right? And so you're like putting your emotions into something only to have them be judged by people that you don't know, right? So that I had to hurdle over that first, and it was just like, just create just because you want to create, right? So once I got comfortable like showcasing or putting some stuff or showing other people what I was working on, then it was like, okay, well maybe now I was submitting my work for different like call to call for artists for forums or whatever. And I was getting denied. But I wasn't in a space where I was like as confident as I am now as far as my art is concerned. So, but it was definitely helpful to have that rejection because it only made me want to like, do more. But I was like, okay. So, then I took a break from it, and then
So, how did you get to the skill level that you are at now?
Practice. So, basically, so, you can't be good at anything unless you practice, I did the Raw Artist Showcase that they had.
Okay, I was excited for that too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did that one. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Pancakes and Booze that was my first Pancakes and Booze that I did. And you know what happened was I did Raw, and I didn't give myself enough time in between Raw and the first Pancakes and Booze that I decided to do. So I was like all over the place, and I didn't want to show the same work for whatever reason. I just felt like I needed to constantly be creating work. And so the pieces that I want to show for Pancakes and Booze, like I had like 5 pieces, I think, or 5 or 6 pieces that I wanted to show, and I only ended up showing 3 because the other ones weren't done. I had no prints or whatever, but Raw was really cool. But I think I don't know, I was trying to create like so much for that show, and I was pretty burnt out, but I was also very pleased with my result because it was nice to just see my work and see people being able to like connect with it. Like, and I had this big canvas that had these words on it, and I would be able to, share my, my thoughts on it, and people would really like, feel you on that level, and it was like, wow, like, okay, like this is cool.
This might be something.
Yeah, and then I was burnt out by by the time Pancakes and Booze came, but I still did it, and it was, it was okay, but Raw was the first one that I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is an important question. I feel like a lot of people are in this space. So like I said, I am a full-time entrepreneur, but not everybody is. Like, and not saying it's easy because it's not at all. But so how is it tackling a traditional job and being an entrepreneur as well? Because you do everything. You do your sipping paints or your paint parties. You do everything. So
listen, this is no easy walk at all. I still work a full-time job. I'm still a graphic designer. So, and then it's a balancing act. Like, it's like the same amount of time that you put into somebody else's business, you got to give yourself that same energy, right? But it's like, once you work 8 hours for somebody else, I be tired, be burnt out, my brain is on E,
creative all day.
Yeah, exactly. But you still have to make time for your own stuff, so it's balanced, and I'm still working on the balance, and because I find myself, stressed about it. I find myself feeling like I'm, behind. But, I think in the greater scheme of things, it's like I'm right where I'm supposed to be, just chipping away at my, my own business so it can turn into my full-time thing. So I think keeping that mindset is like, okay, well, this is temporary. This is, like my job, and I love it. I know what my goals are, right? And so, it's all helping me to, understand like balance and running a business. And I'm getting so many great tools and tips and tricks from inside a business that's, operating, and just being able to take from that and like put it into my own is really been helpful. So, but it's just challenging. It's challenging. It really is, because I just want to create. Yeah. That's all I want to do. And when I find myself in moments, or I go like a week or days without, creating, that doesn't feel good to me. Like it's hard for me to, be okay with that. But when you're doing everything on the back end of your business, on top of being, the one that's running the classes and the one that has to keep everything, in order, make sure you have all your inventory, your supplies, everything, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's no easy thing. It's like I could work from sun up to sundown, like it's just because I'm working my job, I'm doing my own little, my own business stuff, and then, finding time to like eat and like just breathe or meditate for a quick second. Like it's interesting, I will say, but I've been finding good balance within it, and
and it's working.
It's working. It's working.
I guess it's important to keep your eye on the goal.
Right.
Important to, like you said, the balance and find the time for you. So, where do you see yourself in your art in 10 years?
10 years. Okay. So, in 10 years, I see my painting business right now, which is Escape and Paint. I see that, you know, not just being a space for sipping paints, but being a space for creatives, you know, and having different like locations where creatives can come and really, you know, get the necessary tools that they need, seminars and whatnot. And really just have a space that's created just for them. Like that is something that I want for my own self. I wish I had that now, just to be in a room with a bunch of people that are just, you know, all on the same frequency, and being able to, you know, connect and learn and grow and, you know, get critiqued and that sort of thing. So, I definitely want to do that, because I've been realizing that my art is not just about me. It's not about my self-expression. It starts there, but, you know, art can really, you know, heal, you know. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. So whenever I can do to help the community or help other people, that's where, and if I have to use art to do that, then that's what, you know, that's my gift, you know. So I definitely see in 10 years being, you know, more expansive with the things that I'm doing now, and it being on a, you know, a bigger scale. Yeah, and just I think that, you know, my creative, like the level that I'm on, I feel like I'm gonna, you know, continuously grow and elevate with just constantly like practicing and whatnot, and being able to like do things, you know, a little faster, like, you know, portraits and art takes a long time, you know, but like being able to, you know, see things with, you know, see things and be able to just like, you know, render it in your head, and then it comes out on paper or on canvas, and it's like, whoa, you know, like, it, you know, being able to, you know, do things more efficiently. And then really just like perfecting my skill, really, you know, perfecting my skill and being able to show, you know, share it with other people. How did you get here? What tips and tricks did you use? The same way I'm reading these books that have helped me, like, you know, I can, you know, create a book that has helped me, you know, that to help, you know, help somebody else's artistic career. That's what it's all about. It's like using what I know, like gaining all of this knowledge, right? And then like taking it and then like giving it back.
Yes, I love that.
Right? Because that's what people do. That's what you just recycle information and you give it back. You give it back.
Teachers become a teacher so they can teach the knowledge that they learned to somebody else.
Yeah. Like a cycle. So that's my little piece of paradise here on this earth.
And me and you've talked about the creative space, you know, I'm interested in doing that as well. So hopefully me and you be able to do that together.
Absolutely.
So so do you have any advice for any budding artists or entrepreneurs?
Yes. Okay. So with anything that you do, I think it's important to, you know, do your research, go on your own fact-finding mission, do the discovery piece, you know, the aspect of anything that you do. You have to do your own research. You have to, you know, figure out what you're getting into, figure out where you want to be. You can have all of these tools, but if you're not using them in the way that, you know, if you're not using them to help you get there, then you're doing yourself a disservice, right? So you have to do your own thing, and then you start to pull from other people. You start having these talks, you start getting mentors, you start, you know, this is all a part of your collection of data that you're going to need for whatever it is that you're doing. So it's important that you like do your work. You can't, like, nothing is going to come easy. And I know a lot of people, like, when we think about social media, right, we think that, like, you know, everybody just happened overnight. No, like, people have been working to get to a certain point, and you don't see all of that, right? But you have to do the dirty work. You got to get your hands dirty. You have to, you know, figure out ways that work for you. You can't copy someone else's, you know, thing and think that that's going to work for you. You have to like figure out what is best for yourself, right? I think that's the biggest piece of advice, because going on my own fact-finding mission and, like, you know, going out of my way to go to different, take classes, even after school, you know, take art classes, go, you know, sit down with artists and figure out, you know, where I want to be, taking seminars on, you know, on business, the insides of business and how to get started and, you know, X, Y, and Z, putting yourself in those, you know, rooms with people where you don't know anything, but you learn so much. I think that is so important. And I think a big part of it also is like, you know, just being consistent, you know, finding time to just create something, you know, a day or a week, like whatever your schedule will allow, like doing what works for you. But I think it's important to, you know, constantly practice. Like you have to practice.
Well, tell me a little bit about art and was it paint? Art and escape?
Escape and paint.
Escape and paint. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about escape and paint, the services you offer outside of that. Mm-hmm. Like, just tell the people about what you do, how to contact you, all that good stuff.
Okay. So Escape and Paint is a therapeutic art experience that I hold here in Atlanta. It's basically your traditional sip and paint experience, but we really get into, you know, feeling centered and really expressing yourself on camera. We really get into expressing yourself on canvas and really pouring, you know, what you're feeling, what you've been through into your canvas. So although, you know, we start off with a template that, that I create that, you know, I'm maybe walking you through, you are free to express yourself in any way. So if the canvas or the template that we're working on is not what you want to paint something else. You know, it's really about your self-expression. So you can follow us for the Escape and Paint classes at Sip Paint Escape on Instagram and Facebook. And then also I do freelance graphic design, mostly logos and print-based media. So if you need business cards, postcards, social media content, that sort of thing, you can reach me via email. Also visit my website, which is aveladesign.com. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, I thank you for letting me interview. This has been amazing. You're so articulate. Like, I've gotten so many good like tips and gems and everything that I'll use when I leave this.
Wonderful.
But thank you again.
You're welcome.
And that's our video.
All right. Bye.